Hey guys, welcome. It is Thursday, which means it's my favorite day of the week because I get to hang out with you. Today, we are going over some really fun trends that I found while I went on a huge deep dive on Etsy the other day. And I think that these things are going to pop off, or they already have in the past like 2 to 3 months. And I think they're only going to get better, especially if you guys can put your own unique spin on it, which we are going to talk about in today's live. So, of course, as always, if you are new here, feel free to drop any comments, any questions, any additional ideas, or any feedback for the live in the live chat. If you are watching, I was like, what's the other thing I was going to say? If you are watching it on the replay, feel free to add any of those questions, comments, concerns, etc. in the comments of this video. I'm the one actually that gets back to you personally, so feel free to pop them in there. Today should be pretty simple, pretty easy, pretty quick. I know I say that all the time, and then we end up going for like an hour and a half, but today I actually am saving you guys some time in your day. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time back in your Thursday because I have about like 13 or so trends that I want to talk about, but I'm not going to get too deep into them. I'm more so just going to allude to them and say how you can add your own unique spin. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm going to add my thing to screen real fast. And I went ahead, instead of going like into Etsy myself on the live, I went ahead and just like compiled all of it for you guys. So we weren't, again, I'm trying to save you time. So we weren't spending like, I spent like 2 hours on finding these things for you guys before I ever, clicked the live today. So I want to make sure that you guys are not having to go through every single step of trying to find these things with me. But I will tell you exactly how I got through each of them or got to each of them. Okay. So I got some big trends that I'm excited to share with you. Let's go ahead and get to the first one. The first thing I actually wanted to do was actually start with color trends first. This is something that like I don't think a lot of you guys are using, and I wanted to make sure that you even knew what they were and how to utilize them. And I am like 99% sure that you are going to start to see these few colors that we're going to talk about in a second in multiple places. So you're going to see them if you go to like Target, Urban Outfitters, obviously on Etsy. You're going to see them in big retailers. You're going to see it on Pinterest, whatever. So the first one is called Lime Cream, which to me is just key lime pie. That's why I put that there so you guys can see exactly what it was. If you want the Pantone code, you can see it right there. And you can also see the hex code is right here. So D7E8BC, and then of course the RGB color as well. So this is Etsy's color of 2025. So this is something that they basically said this year that we believe on the forecast for the future that this color is going to do really, really well on Etsy, and you're going to start to see it pop off more in multiple different places. So this can be applied if you are a print-on-demand seller, a handmade seller, or a digital seller, because this could be, let's say you're making digital products. This could be like the what's it called, the SVGs or the pings that you're giving to other Etsy sellers. This could also be the design that you are placing on a print on demand item. This could be like a ring or an earring or something that you're doing to kind of show like this color for handmade sellers as well. So I'm really liking this one, and I'm going to start using this a lot in my stuff. And I've actually already seen this a lot on Target, like on target.com and stuff as well. So feel free to start adding this hex color into your designs. The second one is Mousse. You guys probably already know about this. This is the Pantone color of the year. So we talked about this Mocha Mousse. I forgot that was Mocha in front of it. So Mocha Mousse. We talked about this. I want to say late December, early January, kind of like prepping your shops for the year. So I wanted to make sure that I reiterated that this right here is Pantone's color of the year. So Mocha Mousse 17-1230. And of course, you can type Mocha Mousse into Google and actually get the hex code color as well. The good news about a color like this is actually one of what I assume to be, it hasn't been too big over the past couple of years, but I saw it over like the past 3 months, and I assume it's only going to continue getting bigger as we have Mocha Mousse being like a main event this year. This is actually very, very, very similar to a Comfort Colors actual t-shirt color. So I really think that that is going to pop off on Etsy soon, knowing that this is the color of the year. But again, you could start using this kind of stuff in your designs as well. All right. Speaking of Comfort Colors, I also wanted to, and this is exactly what I was talking about. I wanted to kind of see like where these colors are fitting in currently with the standard trend of what we're seeing on Etsy. So when I actually literally typed in the word Comfort Colors, I didn't do anything else. I didn't ask for like colors per se, or brown or green or cream. It gave me these. It literally automatically suggested that I should narrow down my search to women's clothing, men's clothing, and gender neutral adult clothing. But what was awesome to me was the very like first thumbnail colors were the exact colors that were the trends for the year. So we've got like it's a little bit more sage based, like the sage and the cream, or sage and ivory, but we've got like that kind of like sage green color in the middle. And then we've got the I forgot what this color is to be called, espresso, I believe. Let me just double check. Yeah, espresso. So this is espresso, this is espresso. And then I think the middle one is called moss. But these are what I was alluding to. These brown ones are what I was alluding to as it relates to the matching the mocha mousse best. So you see how this color is kind of comparable to this Comfort color. Okay. So once I did that and I was in the Comfort color space, then I started really scrolling through everything in Comfort colors. And I started to get an idea of, I see that these are being, given to me already by Etsy, but are there other colors that are being used in multiple thumbnails? So what I did was basically go into Etsy, and I went to Comfort Colors, of course, in the search bar, went to all filters, filtered by star seller, removed star, changed it to best. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I will show you real fast. Let me open up my other screen real quick, just so you guys know what I am doing. Let me share this screen instead. All right, we all should be looking at Etsy right now. All right, so let's just say Comfort Colors, for example. We just type whatever we want in the search bar. And of course, you can use EverBee to do this too. Again, there's perfect example of what I was saying a second ago. Here's another example. You can come over here, obviously, and go to like product analytics and start searching through EverBee as well. But what I'm going to do instead, and this is what I was just alluding to, is I'm going to go to all filters. I'm going to scroll down until I see star seller. I'm going to click that. And then I'm going to come up to the address bar and delete star and then add best. Once I do that, it's going to basically give me everything that is popular now or bestseller. So you'll see popular now, bestseller, etc. So I just wanted to make sure that I showed you guys exactly how I got there rather than just telling you how I got there. And then when I did that and I started searching through the Comfort Colors in the bestseller category, these are the 5 colors that I saw that were like consistently doing well on people's thumbnails. So again, these are things that are actually making money right now. And I tried to keep them all within the last 6 months. So if there was anything over 6 months, I didn't put it in here because those might have done really well before. And that's why they have a lot of sales. I wanted to really keep it fine-tuned as it relates to listing age. So you can see we have Seafoam, Blue Jean, Pepper, Ivory, and Moss. So I highly recommend, if you guys have not already added Comfort Colors to your store, this is a really, really good time. Like there's no time like the present, but yesterday was the best day. Today is the next best day. Tomorrow's too late, that kind of phrase. So let's make sure that we are adding Comfort Colors of every capacity if possible. There are crew necks, there are hoodies, there are t-shirts. I think there are even tank tops. Comfort Colors are always going to be able to be sold for a higher price because it's just a more quality product. And it also presents that kind of like pre-washed vintage kind of thing that's doing really well in multiple different spaces and multiple different niches right now, which we're going to talk about a lot of them today. So I just wanted to let you guys know these are the 5 that I consistently found across the board being the best sellers, the thumbnails of the best sellers for things that took place over the past 6 months. So if you do not have these in your inventory, so let's say maybe your thumbnails are focused on that like lavender purple color. Let's say it's focused on crimson, the more red color, or maybe you have like I forgot what it's called, charcoal. Maybe you have like the darker gray aesthetic for comfort colors. It might be time to swap those out for one of these five because, and also you can test these against each other, by the way. You can have like the same design on moss that you have on ivory and then just test them and see which one performs better. And then all the ones that you currently have, if they are already performing, you might just be able to duplicate the listing and then have these colors to see if that could go even farther. So if your listing's already doing well, if it's already performing how you want it to, why not just test this and just duplicate it and then try with one of these thumbnails instead because it's already doing well. Your design is obviously already performing. Your SEO is where it needs to be, etc. So is there any way that maybe these colors in the thumbnail could also help us? Okay. Just a quick thing about colors that I found. Wanted to go over those really quickly before we went to anything else. So what I did after that is I basically ignored the invincible thing because that's just something I was looking up myself. But basically what I did was in Etsy, I went to the categories. So let me share my other screen again. And if I just go back to Etsy, for example. Okay, perfect. So up here in categories, if you click on that, there usually is, oh, it's not there. Okay, let's just try Mother's Day, for example. I want to see if I can show you guys this in real time. All right, so let's just say we chose Mother's Day. When you go to categories, there's usually a recommended thing that comes up. I'm not sure why it's not working. I have an idea. Hold on one second. We're going to go on an adventure together. So I'm going to actually open up Chrome instead of, I got to figure out where you guys are now. One second. Okay, present. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for 1 second and then I'm going to, nope, not that. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my Chrome. Let's see. Yeah, they don't make this easy. All right, sorry, I found it. All right, so I'm going to go to Etsy. I'm going to see if this works instead. Sorry, for some reason it wasn't working on the other ones. Let's just say Mother's Day. And with categories, let's click it right here. And here we go. That's what I was looking for is recommended categories. So you can come over here and then it will basically give you the things that they're recommending for you, like to kind of look at and give ideas of what you could also dive a little bit deeper into. So I just wanted to show you guys exactly what that looked like because I couldn't for some reason get it to work on Safari. So I'll go ahead and get back out of here now and share this screen again. 1 second. I got to click like 400 places before I ever get where I want. All right. So that's where I was kind of going was the recommended categories. So what was interesting was it showed me gender and neutral adult clothing was the first one, sports and outdoor recreation, whatever, that could be a bunch of different things, and then men's clothing. So I made the decision today to dive into the gender neutral adult clothing because I thought that was going to be the best. I thought that was going to be the best place to be able to help the majority of you guys that are watching this today or in the future. Mostly because there's a lot of POD sellers on here, but while we're in this space, there also is the ability to go into the digital space as well. And of course, the handmade space as well. So if you're like an embroidered handmade seller, you can also obviously make all of the different niches that we're going to talk about today. But if we were to go with like sports and outdoor recreational, it might only really be handmade sellers and I might be pulling teeth to try to show for digital and POD. So I decided to go the gender neutral adult clothing route. And here are the niches that we are going to get into today. We're going to go ahead and just start with number one. Again, thinking with the gender neutral clothing, I basically went down that rabbit hole that Etsy recommended to me, and these are how I found these, okay? So the first one, which you guys have probably seen if you are on TikTok or on Instagram and you just have like your normal explore page, sourdough is really, really big right now on those. I want to get into it, but I can't do something for that long. I can't like figure out how to get a starter to work, but this is a really, really big space right now. There are a lot of people that are teaching literally how to make sourdough on TikTok. It's insane. So thinking that that's already doing well in many other spaces and then applying it to Etsy is a really smart idea. So I kind of wanted to show you some things of how we can make this a little bit more like unique in your own way. Again, with these, I tried to get it as close to that 6 month as possible. So local sourdough dealer was really cute. And then it had the personalization aspect to it. So that's one way that we can add a unique touch to this already super profitable and trending niche, is trying to find ways to like personalize it, and make it a little bit more like customized to the person themselves. The second way is thinking about ways of like what it means to be a sourdough lover, a sourdough maker, or of course, I did put down here as well, baker. Like, doesn't have to be sourdough; it could literally be anything. This is just where I started, and this is kind of where I ended. So finding ways of like what they deal with, or things that would be relatable and funny to them, and then turning it into design. So this one was obviously hilarious. Don't get me started, and it's kind of like an animated starter kit or whatever you call it. Mama makes the dough, super easy to make. Like, this is like, you guys know, text-based designs always do super well. It doesn't have to be like crazy like this to do well. Obviously, this one is doing pretty well. It already, 5 months, 200 sales on that. This one is 886 sales and only 8 months old. But this one's also doing really well too. 127 sales with a very, very simple aesthetic, very simple text-based design. And like I mentioned, this is moss and this is moss and this is pepper. So these are 3 examples of what I was saying way up here, that moss and pepper are performing well on bestseller thumbnails. So this is another example of exactly what that looks like. Again, I was looking at this one too because this was only 2 months old, and though it wasn't related to sourdough, I was thinking like someone who likes doing this or is interested in this space might also be interested in this. So I thought that was kind of cute. And again, there's only 4 of them so far, but it's also only 2 months old. And look at that conversion rate. Out of the 13 people that saw this, 4 people bought, and it's also currently in 15 carts. So if we can get in like the sourdough space while it's currently on the rise, no pun intended. I did not mean to do that, I promise. So if we could get there while it is currently trending, but then also think about other ways or other things that sourdough people might also like, that might be an option for you guys. All right, that's number 1. Number 2, this one is something that's actually been going on for about a year now, but I recently have seen a very big uptick, and I think it's just because of the season of life that we're in. So the fact that it's April, for example, and we're getting closer to the summertime, people are they're getting married, weddings are taking place in the summer, usually summer, fall time. So bachelorette parties are taking place right now. So they're usually happening like within a few months to a few weeks before the actual wedding day. And I can attest to this because my sister actually just had her bachelorette party about 4 weeks ago. I don't remember. It was like, I think it was like March 13th. So a little over 3 weeks ago. And she did this exact aesthetic. I had never even heard of this personally, but she found it herself, and she's like, I want to do the cabin crew concept. Or there was another one that was Last Trail Before the Veil. And that was, thinking about hiking and going on a trip like into the wilderness, whatever. So I found these that I really liked, because I found a lot of different ones. But these aesthetics I really liked. Like, this one was kind of more like vintagey, but also kind of combined with I'm trying to remember the name of the aesthetic, but you guys know the things where like the martini glasses, and it's like social club, I think is what it's called, right? Cabin crew, this first example, is kind of a combination of 3 things: the cabin, camp, bachelorette concept, the bachelorette niche in general, and then also kind of bringing in that social club element that has done really, really well on Etsy for the past year. What I also really liked, though, was I didn't even think about this, and I kind of wish I would have just done this. I actually ended up personally making all the things for my sister. So we did like an itinerary. We did the things to go like on the phone, like if you're, when you're trying to get there, like what are we doing for the weekend? Where are we going? What should you pack? Stuff like that for all of her girls that were coming. And I didn't even think about the fact that I could sell that or that I could even buy it from this person instead of me making it myself. So this one's a little bit older. I will say this is 16 months old. So that just proves that the camp bachelorette theme has kind of been around for a little while. But I think if we were to put a unique spin on it, or even like dive into the digital space, or diving into other print on demand items. Like let me think of some. If we could do can cozies, I think it's what it's called, koozies, however you say that word. You could do like the can coolers. You could do signage. That could be a good one because I actually bought a sign for my sister that was personalized. We could do cups. Obviously, you could do those camp-based mugs. Those are really, really popular as well. So really thinking of like, we know that this kind of thing does well. Is there a way to turn this into, again, add a unique aspect to it, but then maybe put it on a less saturated product? And then again, for my digital product sellers, really thinking of like, what will these people need while they're on their bachelorette party, while they're on their cruise, while they're on whatever. I really think something like this could, like, I would have bought it for sure. Like, I just made them the other day myself from scratch. I would have happily saved all that time for myself. So anyways, this is one that has been alive for a little while, but I'm thinking if we can find ways to make it a little bit more unique and add things that might not already be in this very, very profitable space, that could be another option for you guys. All right. That's number 2. Number 3 is my absolute favorite, and I am 100% sure that I spelled this wrong, but it's a weird word. We all know that. I don't know. Opossum, possum, whatever. Anyway, so this one is probably my favorite one that we're going to go over today because I would buy all of these. I think this is freaking hilarious. And these are doing so, so well right now. So you can see all of the things that I was looking at were literally less than 5 months old. The majority of them are 3 months, and then 2 of them are 5 months. So it's like raccoons, dumpster fire, possums, frogs, toads. There were so many random things that I found like in this space while again I was under the gender neutral clothing deep dive. But I would 100% buy all of these. I thought this was so, so funny, and I would just recommend like just typing in like straight up like raccoon or like trash panda or something like that into Etsy and seeing if you can find anything that works for your space. So again, just to kind of highlight, my thing from earlier is like, these are all bestsellers, these are all popular nouns, these are all making great money. And we have an example of, even though this is a Gildan, so it's not a comfort color, it's a Gildan 18,000, this is still that moss color. Okay, so I really like that. This is obviously our espresso color that we mentioned earlier, which relates really well to the mocha mousse concept. And then this baby right here is more than likely, it's going to be one of 2 colors. It's either, I think it's called granite. I think it's granite, or it's pepper. Or it could also be a Bella Canvas 3001 in their dark gray color. But nonetheless, I'm just perpetuating that these colors are doing really, really well, no matter what niche you seem to be in, as it relates to the actual items that you're selling, the colors that you're selling for those items. Okay. So I just think this is so funny. I saw this on a bunch of t-shirts and stuff too, but I love how this seller was smart and turned it into a sticker. And the good news about something like this, it doesn't have to be a raccoon. This could be a toad. This could be a cat. This could be a dog. This could be a sad face. Like, it literally doesn't matter. It's all just about the actual text and what you can put into it. And also, something else that's kind of funny is if you can find ways to maybe make these even more niche down, that might be something that you can do. I'm just thinking out loud here. Like, what if, so going back to our idea, and I'm literally making this up as I go, so y'all are about to see how my weird brain works. But going back to the baker's idea, going back to the sourdough idea, what if we had like baking a cake here, or someone like, whisking or something like that would make sense, because maybe baking wasn't easy, or maybe even a sourdough starter kit right here. That would make a lot of sense too, because I can say from experience, it is not easy, and they make it look so easy and it's not. So there's something really cool about this, is this could be literally done in so many different niches, so many different ways, so many different products, simply because this is doing well and this guy is funny. So if we can do that exact same concept for less saturated spaces, that might be something to get into. But I loved these. This one, I laughed out loud. I'm still laughing out loud at these. So anyways, wanted to show you that. The other thing I wanted to spotlight here really quick is the way that these people are utilizing stickers not actual stickers, but like stickers, icons, elements on their thumbnails. So some people are just showing the individual things, and that's also perfectly fine. It's really focused on the design more so than anything. But this person has fast delivery, and this person says ships fast. And it also has color espresso so that you know which one to choose in the comfort color space. So I kind of liked those because they are not taking away from the design. They're not taking away from the product at all. And I wanted to also showcase that if you wanted to put a sticker, if you wanted to put an element, an icon, etc. on these, you absolutely could. Just make sure that it doesn't take away from the big picture. All right. Moving on to number 4. This one's also the exact same concept pretty much that I loved. Some of these, like one of them is over 6 months, but it's just doing, really well. So I still wanted to put it in here. But going along the same concept as the person that's going to buy these is also someone who's going to buy these. So dilly-dallying, diddly squat, lollygagging, and tomfoolery. Here's another one. All of my flappers are gasted. Like, I just thought that was so funny, and obviously a lot of other people do as well. This one's only 1 month old, and granted, it's like, I don't love the views to sales per se, but it's only 1 month old and it's already gotten 14 sales. So if we were, again, able to pop these in different ways, so maybe this is I think this would actually be really, really good as a bumper sticker. That's just a random thought that I had. And it's going to do better as a decal than it might a sticker, because a sticker is like, you're off to commit tomfoolery. So you're off to do something. You're going. I think that would do really, really well with a car decal. Sorry, I'm late. I was dilly-dallying. This is obviously a frolicking little sheep. You could change this into a million different things. You could do the exact same concept for literally every single niche. Like, sorry, I forgot your catheter. I was dilly-dallying. If you're thinking about like the RN space, there's so many different things that you could do. But that's an example of what we could do, like we said up here. And then this is a unique, like I said, idea. This is something that could just be on a car decal because you are in motion. Okay. Thought that was kind of a cool idea. Moving on to number 5. All right, so this was probably my second favorite one. Being able to understand, and this is, by the way, not necessarily this niche itself is my favorite, but this concept itself is my favorite. Being able to combine one very, very popular, super saturated niche with a less saturated one, and doing that in a very, very smart way will make you sales, hands down. So when I look at these, for example, this one's 12 months, but the rest of them were under 6 months was my goal, like I said. And going back to my colors theory from earlier, this is moss, this is pepper, this is ivory. Okay, so again, proving my concept that if you can kind of stick to the colors that seem to be doing really well, those 5 that I mentioned earlier, this is just proof every single time I scroll. It's like the same things all over again, like ivory. This is technically not ivory, but it's the same concept, that tan color. So combining popular niches with other niches is going to be the probably best advice that I could give you guys today to actually make sales. And if you could go with any of the niches that we're doing and combine those, even better. That's probably going to be best, because that's what we are finding today is currently trending. So I love this one. Cats and the Western theme. I also love how this person was smart enough to put it on a door mat. The same way that I mentioned a second ago that we should do this on a not a magnet, what's it called? Decal. I was like, what is that thing? A car decal, because you're forward motion, right? This one you're saying like, hey, or howdy. So being like, hey, welcome to my house, or turning this into wall art. That makes a lot of sense rather than a t-shirt. It could be a t-shirt, sure, but I really like how they were smart enough to put it on something like this. Rock, paper, scissors, I thought was really funny. Rage consumes me is hilarious. This is actually something that we could do to make this even better is personalize it. So have your cat's photo here, your dog's photo here, your rabbit's photo here, whatever it is. And as you guys know, this is like that bootleg, I think like 90s is what it was, like 90s style bootleg where they had like all of the pictures of your girlfriend or whatever. Those were so big, made people millions of dollars last year. So combining the bootleg, this aesthetic that everyone was buying with the big niche of being cats in general, and the niche of just like the kind of like funny, self-deprecating mental health, whatever space, that is going to be a winner 10 times out of 10. And again, we don't have to do cats, just like what is another thing that we could do that makes sense in this space. Okay. Then the other option that I thought was really cute, again, this is perpetuating my color theory idea from earlier. This is going to be your like astronauts, space, astronomy, etc. with the cat space. So that was really good. Let's move on to number 6. This one is really freaking funny because I was born in 1992, not to age myself, but I was born in 1992, and my husband was just saying the other day, he's like, "Oh my God, like we are old." And we're not. I'm only 32, he's 34. But really thinking about like how funny it is when someone when someone gets carded like 21 years old to go into a bar, or 18 or whatever, and they're like in the late 2000s, and I'm like, what do you mean, like 2010s? Like that's just wild to me now. So these made me laugh out loud, and they are obviously making hundreds of other people laugh out loud as well. So the cool thing is I wanted to show you guys multiple different examples. This one is a sticker, but the reason I put it on here is if we were to make an actual crochet thing, whether it is, I don't know, let's say one of these, I don't know what you call that, but like the little circle thing for crochets, hopefully you guys know, or if we could do a pillow, that would do really well in the print on demand space on this. This would also do really well on a phone case. So I wanted to show you this example because the crochet aesthetic is super big right now, but also this concept is, I think, going to pop off very soon if it hasn't already. Please be patient for me. I'm from the 1900s, and it's kind of like old Western aesthetic. So kind of like that combination of those two things that were doing well. I pray thee be patient, for I hail from the 1900s. I thought that was hilarious because this is the exact same thing as this, but it's even more like colonial, if that makes sense. So I like this one, and they're also using a lime cream background, so I loved that too. And then this one again is the same concept. So all of these are technically the same thing, but it's smart sellers finding what works for them and what design aesthetic makes the most sense for them. So thinking about ways that you guys could maybe do something like this. Don't copy any of these, please, for the love of God, don't copy them. But really thinking about, like, now that we know that this is doing well right now within the last, 6 to 9 months, what could we possibly bring to the table as a spin? So I really loved this one. Moving on to, I don't remember what we're on, like number 6, maybe. This one is, again, unfortunately, most of the stuff that I was doing today was very like Gen Z oriented, but that's also the people that are going to be like buying on Etsy right now, or the people that are going to be buying from big retailers right now. So certified yapper, professional yapper, and yappy hour. These are 3 different examples of yapping. And if you have to look that up, please do, because I'm 32. I know very little about any of this stuff that they're talking about, but they are selling like hotcakes. So again, all of these are 7 months or younger, and I wanted to show you ways that we can do this in multiple different ways. So we have our sticker here, we have our crew neck here that with embroidery on it, and then we also have digital wall art. Okay, moving on. This is the last one, but this is also, it's kind of, they're all almost combined in a way, just because they are all kind of going to be purchased by the same type of people or the same age of people, but popular TikTok saying. So if you could find anything on TikTok that was doing well, or if you like this one, actually, I thought was really funny because this is actually, I'm going to zoom in. Skibbity Riz, I don't freaking know. Again, I'm 32, but I love that it says, or whatever my kid says. I thought that was really smart because it's something that's trending right now. It's something that is doing really well, but it's also going to be purchased by someone who is in their late 30s, early 40s, or late 20s, early 30s that has a kid. So I just thought this was like a really funny way to kind of combine those. And then I also really liked this right here, not demure, very forgetful, very chaotic, very anxious. And as you can see, look at that conversion rate, 142% conversion rate. So of the 25 people who have viewed this listing, 17 people, which is a huge number, have purchased. So that's why you can see a ridiculous conversion rate. Again, this is the past, 30 days. So that's why it's a little bit off. It's like 17 monthly sales out of how many they received overall. But this has only been open for 2 months. And obviously, the demure concept, the very demure, very mindful, that was obviously something that popped off, I think, in like October or November or so of 2024. But I like how they took that and ran with it with the adverse effect. So something like this would actually do really well with millennials and also Gen Z. So, guys, that is my little deep dive for today. I hope you guys found it beneficial. Those were some really, really fun things that I found just very simply by going again on Etsy, going to the star seller, turning it to bestseller, and then using product analytics to deep dive into these. And how I got to finding these in the first place, again, just go to categories and what's recommended, and then just start kind of diving through it. And the best part is we actually have the ability to like see it. Let me pull it up again real fast so you guys can see what I see. Oh, 1 second. All right, we're going to go back over to Chrome real quick. All right, you guys should see this. So what's really, really cool is now if you have the EverBee extension, you can see all of these things at a high level now rather than having to start with product analytics. So I still do that sometimes, especially if I want to get down to a very, very fine-tuned list that only has certain numbers of whatever in it. So let's say the listing age is 12 months old, or it's sold no less than 50 times for the month. Whatever it is, if I want to put a filter on it, the answer is always going to be product analytics. But I also could just scroll through these, and now you guys have the ability to do a high level overview as well. So like this, for example, like maybe I like this idea, but that's not beautiful, right? Or maybe I like this idea, but it's automatically telling me that it's not a good idea. At least the way that they have this one particularly built. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was something that I just love doing every quarter for you guys. It's just kind of doing like an updated trend report of sorts. So if you guys did like this, please make sure to boop that like button and let me know which of the like 7 to 8 categories that we went through that you are maybe interested in diving into a little bit further. If you want to put a comment below or put it in the live chat, either way, I'll respond to you personally with maybe even more ideas. So like, let's say if you are in the handmade space and you really wanted to do the 1900s concept. Let's say those two things made sense for you. Let me know in the comments because I could actually try to use my brain to think of even more ideas of where you guys could go. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this, and I